Hey boys, welcome back to some more NRL Supercoach 2021 preseason discussions and action going on here. I've been through all the positions. I've gone through my initial team, but honestly, I was keen to do more Supercoach videos, dude. So I thought, you know what, let's break it down even further and go through each team, and we can sort of, you know, the broad aspects of the positional play. I sort of just went through a lot of players, but more just sort of the cheapies and potential players. But going through the more squad breakdown, we can sort of go through some more, get more in depth into different players, and it'll give me a good idea of sort of the prices, because it's sort of tough to sort of go through every single player. So this way, we can sort of give a good little view of who I would try to avoid, who's the one to keep an eye on, and all that sort of stuff. So we're just going to go through here, and obviously we'll start out with the Brisbane Broncos alphabetical order. So the dummy halves first off. So not too much exciting here. The one play, Jake Turpin. He only played the 6 games last year, averaged 49. I'm surprised he averaged so high. So if he was starting probably a little bit cheaper, honestly, Turpin, he would be an okay case for a little bench dummy half pickup, because I do think Turpin is underpriced. I think he is potentially about a 55 average dummy half if he stays fit. He's, I really like him as a player, and hopefully he can have an unaffected season. Last year he was nice because he was a dual halfback and dummy half, but because he barely played any games and he only played dummy half last year, he is only a hooker, so a little bit frustrating. But regardless, Turpin, I would, a little bit cheaper, and I could see myself going him as a reserve player, but not at the price. The only guy that I'm actually a little bit not tempted, but he is a watch, is Corey Pace, because honestly, he's starting very cheap, $255K. He averaged 29, and he's a good young player. Didn't play many minutes, but I think he's definitely one for the future. The Broncos haven't gone out at the moment and signed another gun dummy half, so I think they are blooding Corey Pace to become their sort of, one of their premium dummy halves. And the way Turpin plays, he's so intense. He plays 100%. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little niggle and they want to give Pace more minutes throughout the season. So he's one to watch. I wouldn't be, again, yeah, I could see myself going Pace over Little, but probably not. I think Pace is one you could wait and see, and if he gets more minutes and if he gets a starting role, if Turpin gets injured, I think he could definitely be a smoky for a little cash grab there, but not too much else in the dummy halves. The front row forward department here, so there's some interesting ones. So Ethan Bullimore, he's an extremely good young player. It looks like he may not even get a bench spot though, so he's definitely a future Supercoach star. Very similar to Pat Carrigan, in all honesty. He's very similar to Jai Arrow. Just that big mobile lock front row forward, has some good offloading skills. He's a very good player, Ethan Bullimore. The few games he played, 8 games last year, and he looked every part of a first grader when he came into the fold. So probably not for this year, but definitely a wait and see. Asiata, very cheap. He's never really been a Supercoach star, but coming off the bench, he could. I wouldn't really go anywhere near him, but he's definitely underpriced for what he can do. Thomas Flagler. So it looks like he's probably going to get that starting spot, but I think he's probably priced to where he is. I think he could get a little bit of a cash increase for sure. He could probably get up to around 450, average around that 45-50 mark, starting at prop. But who knows? He is one of these young kids at the Bronx who, he started the year on absolute fire. He dwindled away, I thought, pretty badly at the end of the year, but he started like an absolute gun. He was in the talks for an Origin jersey. So he's one of these young guys that could just, this year, he might be his year and he could average like 60 plus, but it's a wait and see on Flagler. Payne Haas, obviously he's gone for the first month, but you know, premium front row. He's definitely a guy you probably want to get into your team later in the year. I'm probably thinking after Origin, I'm probably going to try to bring Payne Haas in. I just think, you know, see how he goes after the suspension, see how the minutes are, and then obviously you would expect him to get picked for New South Wales. If he doesn't, then he's probably going to be a good little pickup over Origin. But if not after Origin, I think he's a very good pickup. Reece Kennedy, no. Matt Lodge. So I talked about him, and I'm probably going to get Matt Lodge. I think at 300k, I think he's an absolute steal. Hopefully, I mean, I haven't really heard much if he's like fully like fit from the injuries, but I think Lodge is like almost not an automatic selection, but I think for what he's done previously through like a full season starting, I think he's just a really good undervalued prospect at front row. Like that, it's just, yeah, insane value. So I think Lodge is definitely coming into my team. Pengai Jr., I love Pengai Jr. he's one of those guys that he can score as well as anyone, but I can't go near him because I think he is priced. Usually he starts the seasons like a little bit undervalued in my opinion, just because he misses games through injury, suspensions, and he never really. And I mean, he only played the 9 games last year, but those games he played, he scored really well. I mean, averaged 70, so he's priced pretty highly. So if he was a bit cheaper, I would definitely consider him, but I think he's just a little bit expensive for other value options in the front row. The second row, Pat Carrigan, you know, I think, again, He had an incredible year. I thought he was Broncos' best player, far and away the best player. But again, I just think there's better options in the back row for similar to even cheaper price than Carrigan. I mean, he's only owned by 6% of super coaches, so like he's not a bad option. I don't see him scoring any less than what he did. Like I still think he's going to average around 60 to 65 plus, so definitely not a bad pickup. And you know, for something a little bit different, it's not a bad option. 6%, like he's an absolute monster, and I feel like again he's gonna have to play huge minutes. He's got the offload, he's got the tackle break. Really love him as a player, so I'm not going to start with him, but geez, he's tempting because I do think he is a little bit undervalued at a bit under 600k, and then not too much else. Jordan Ricky is probably the only sort of potential, but I don't even think he's going to get a back row spot at the Broncos, so he's in my initial team, but pending selection, I think Pengai and Glenn pretty much have the back row spot sewn up, unless Pengai goes into the front row potentially. But yeah, Ricky. I mean, if Ricky gets the starting back row spot, then I think he's a very good pickup. If not, then pretty much a no go in my opinion. The halfbacks we've got, so honestly nothing doing. I don't think any of the halfbacks are really a viable option at the Broncos. Dearden, very good player, but I don't think he's ever really going to be a super coach gun because he's not a goal kicker, and he's not really a guy that's going to just break a game open. He's more of a Cronk type player. Cronk was never really a super coach gun either. So yeah, not too much doing there. 5'8" department, not really anything either. I mean, Milford is probably the only, I guess, you know, I wouldn't go Milford, but you know, if you wanted to take a big punt on Milford having a breakout year, you know, who knows? Maybe he will find his form again, and at 4% ownership at 300k, he's definitely showed in the past he's been one of the premium 5'8" options, so he might regain some form, but I definitely couldn't see myself going with Milford. And then in the centre wing department, so not too much. Herbie Farnworth, a lot of talent. And again, this could be the year where Herbie really sort of finds that center spot, and he could nail down that center spot and kill it. But I don't think really he's ever going to be a Supercoach star. Jermaina Sarko, very tempting. I don't have him in my team at the moment, but I mean, he's going to be goal kicking. He's going to be the fullback. I'm actually surprised I didn't have him on my team. Like, he is a very, very he's a very confidence-driven player, dude. Like, if he's going well, he's an absolute star. Like, Zarko has all the talent in the world. He's strong, quick, great footwork, good ball skills. I mean, he can play. He can match it with the best of them on his day. But if he's out of form, then yeah, he really struggles. He drops sitters. He just can't get into the game. So that's the only worry. But geez, I feel like I'm probably going to get the Zarko in the team, dude. I just feel like having a fullback in your center wing is always very nice, and then the goal kicking as well. He is a very good goal kicker. The Broncos, the only issue, I guess, is that are they going to score many points? And maybe not, but yeah, I think Zarko, it's going to be tough to leave out. I might try to fit him in, honestly. And then Tessie Niu looks like he's going to get that center spot with Katoni Staggs being injured. He is owned by 40% of Supercoaches, but yeah, makes sense. He's a pretty good pickup as a cheapie. Can't really argue with it. I don't think he's going to set the world on fire, but he's like a lot of these Broncos youngsters. He's got the talent, he's got the potential, and it could be their year, maybe. We'll see. Hopefully. But that's pretty much it, honestly. David Mead at 230k. I mean, David Mead is a great player. I would actually like to see him in the team on the wing for the Broncos, but he seems like he's not going to get that spot. So yeah, he's not an option. But I just wanted to mention him. I love David Mead as a player. I think he's an absolute gun. And then fullbacks, so I talked about Zarko, and then that's pretty much it. You're not going to go any of these guys at fullback. So there's the Broncos. There's a little bit of tempting stuff at the Broncos for sure. They've definitely got some interesting cheaper players. I think a lot of their interesting guys are a little bit undervalued and a little bit cheaper. They're more premium guys. Obviously, Payne Haas is out, so yeah, not really an option, but yeah, that's that. How do we... Oh, yeah, there we go. We got to get rid of the Broncos. So next up, we got the Dogs. So this will be interesting, like I said, to go through the teams, because sometimes you don't really remember the pricing of a lot of these guys, but at dummy half, honestly, nothing doing here. I mean, Marshall King, he averaged 50, just a tick over 50, but yeah, nothing really doing at the dummy half department for the Dogs. The forward pack. So the forward pack's definitely got some good stuff going on. So I've got Jack Hetherington. At the moment, I actually don't even really know how they're going to line up in the pack, but surely Hetherington's going to get a starting spot. And in my opinion, if he gets a starting spot, he's an automatic selection. He's going to... he might be used like fairly sparingly. He might not play huge minutes, but you just know when he's out there, he's going to rip in. Like, he's not going to be a passenger the time he's out there. He's going to get in, make his tackles, make his runs, get a couple offloads. So I think he's a very good pickup. Only 11% owned as well, which is a little bit surprising in all honesty. So yeah, Hetherington, I'm very, very keen on. The rest of the front row is not too much else. Yeah, not a whole lot going on there. The second row, they have a lot of second rowers. Good lord, dude. This is the one thing I still don't really understand about the Dogs. Yeah, they couple of years ago they got rid of some really good second rowers, and then they just kept signing them. I don't get it. I don't know why they keep signing second row forwards, but we'll go through them. Who else? I mean, okay, so Fatala Mariner, he's an interesting one. I like him as a player. I mean, he averaged around 60, so he's definitely got the Supercoach game. But again, I'm just like, for 520k, I just think there's better options. You can spend a little bit more, that 550 range, and you can get guys like Fafita, Tino's like 500k, couple other guys are around 550, and then if you go a little bit, 100k more, then you're going to get a genuine gun. So for Tala Mariner, I do like him, but yeah, I couldn't see myself going in. But at 1%, he's definitely a pod. He's definitely a pod option without a doubt. And then, so Joe Stimson, he's... I mean, Stimson, he's a good player, dude. I mean, he came from the Storm where he was, whenever he got a chance to play in that team, he was very good. Obviously, he didn't get too many opportunities because of the quality. And then he came to the Dogs, and I thought he would get a back row spot. I thought he would get some big minutes, but it's just the way the Dogs are. They got so many back rowers that it's so tough to get any of these guys because you just don't know the minutes they're gonna pick up. So I mean, Stimson at 228k, he is definitely undervalued, but it just depends on where he gets picked. I mean, I'm assuming he's only gonna get a bench spot if he does get selected, but yeah, so you probably couldn't go him. But yeah, 228. I mean, he's very undervalued. He's sort of a wait and see. If he gets a back row spot, he's gonna be straight in. Who else? Renouf Tuamunga, honestly, he's... I don't know how the Dogs are going to line up, but he has real... last year, I was actually very impressed with him. I mean, he averaged a tick over 30, so he's probably a little bit undervalued. But yeah, he looked like he trimmed up a lot. I know a couple of years ago, he was an absolute monster. But I felt like last year he was a lot trimmer. He's still massive, but he looked a lot fitter. He looked a lot quicker. And I really liked him at the Dogs last year. So I don't know if maybe he's going to get some more minutes in the front row. Could be a sneaky little pickup there, but yeah, he's got the talent. And then the other guy here, Corey Waddell. So I thought he might be a little bit cheaper. And I would have been tempted, but 350k, he averaged 40 last year at Manly. I thought he probably played less minutes than that, but unfortunately not. And again, he's another back rower, dude. And Waddell, I mean, he's got the Supercoach game, dude. He's very he's got the offload, he's got the tackle breaking. Yeah, I like Waddell, but again, it just dictates who gets the spots. But there could be big ramifications with Adam Elliott. I can't remember what happened to Elliott. Did he get suspended? I don't think they sacked him. I think he got suspended for a few games. So that'll open up a spot in the back row. So yeah, we'll see how they line up. But there's some options here at the Dogs in the back row department, without a doubt. I don't think my initial team doesn't have any Bulldogs players, so we might have to try and sneak one guy in there potentially. The halfback department, honestly, nothing really piques my interest. I mean, Kyle Flanagan, he did average 60 last year, but that was at the Roosters. He's coming to the Dogs with, I think there is a lot of pressure. There was a lot of pressure at the Roosters because of how well they have gone, and he was sort of tipped to take over from Cronk and continue the trend. But now he's going to the Dogs, and the pressure is now that he's going to turn the Dogs into a top 8 team. So, I don't know. We'll see how he handles it. I definitely couldn't go him, though. And then the rest of these guys, yeah, just not really anything doing with the Dogs. I think the 5'8" department's pretty similar, although there is, I mean, Jake Averillo. A lot of people are going Averillo in the center wing department. I'm a little surprised. Actually, it's only 11%. I thought it was like huge. Like, I thought heaps of people were going Averillo for some reason, which I was a little bit confused about because he's not that cheap. He's 330k, and I mean he's got the speed. He's got some good footwork, but I mean, his defense is atrocious. Like, I don't know, man. I mean, this year I'm sure they've worked with him on it, but geez, his defense was bad last year. So I wouldn't be that keen on Averillo. He's got the attacking ability, which is probably what you want for Supercoach. But I mean, if he starts missing tackles, like I could see them dropping Averillo, because he's getting that. Well, he's tipped to get the 5'8" spot, but yeah, they've got options. I mean, Lachlan Lewis, Brandon Wakeham. So yeah, it's I don't know. He's a guy that I'm not keen on, but a lot of people seem to be. And then we have the centre wing. So like I said, Jake Averillo, people are pretty keen. Nick Kotrick. Kotrick a couple of years ago when he sort of first burst on the scene, I'm pretty sure he averaged probably close to 60 at the Raiders. And then last year, as you can see, he averaged a tick under 50. I thought he would really go on to be one of these premium Supercoach wingers. But yeah, just didn't really... I don't really know what happened. I guess he just didn't get that many tries last year. And coming to the Dogs, he might play centre. He might stay on the wing. I still wouldn't go him. I just don't think the Dogs... I still don't think their team has that many points in them. So I wouldn't really want to go any of their outside backs. The only guy here... Well, one of them, Will Hopewade, who... Again, I would think he's playing fullback, and at a tick under 400k. I still remember, dude. I think it was 2 years ago. I made probably the trade of my season. I traded in Hopewade when he was, I think when he first moved to fullback. Like a couple of years ago, I kept saying it. Will Hopewade should be the fullback for the Dogs. He is far and away their best option. And As soon as he shifted him to fullback, I brought him in, and he was a cheap price, and he banged out I think he banged out a couple of tons in a row. Like he went on an absolute tear and just was massive. Last year, I think he only played the 13 games as well. So yeah, I don't know. Again, I'm not sure how the Dogs are going to line up. They've got options at fullback because obviously they signed, Dallin Watene-Zelezniak last year, but he was sort of in and out. He was on the wing, in the centers. Watene-Zelezniak, I mean, he is a good player. He's tough, but I don't think he's a fullback. I do think he's a winger, not a fullback, but I don't know. He could definitely take that spot. But if Hopewade is the starting fullback, he's such a safe 40 to 50 point player. And at 400k in the center wing, that's pretty solid. And I feel like if he gets back to his form at fullback, he can average up near the best of them. Like he's got the game for it. So he, in my opinion, he's a little smoky. He's a smoky for me. And then I didn't see Corey Allen. So I might have to just take everything I just said back, because Corey Allen is now at the club as well, and will he get the fullback spot? Probably. Yeah, it probably does make sense that Corey Allen would get the fullback spot and Hopewade would go into the centers, which it probably does make their team stronger rather than Allen playing on the wing. So yeah, take back what I said. Hopewade. He's probably not going to be playing fullback, and Allen will play at fullback. So yeah, Allen, I mean, he averaged 61, but yeah, I wouldn't be going Allen. Even if he was playing fullback, you can get him at center wing, but he's a little bit too expensive. Someone under 400k playing fullback, very tempting. 550, just a little bit too much in my opinion. And then the fullbacks, we pretty much talked about them. I wouldn't be going, obviously, any of these guys at fullback. So, yeah, that's that. So, Broncos and Bulldogs, I've been going for about 25 minutes. So, I was thinking about doing 3 teams, but I'll wrap it up at 2. I'll do 2 teams per video. If it's a really short team, like not much to talk about. We'll probably do 3, but yeah, we'll wrap this video up. Hopefully guys are enjoying the Super Coach videos. It's always a lot of fun to just, I love stats. I love talking I love stats, dude. I love talking about players and whatnot. So yeah, make sure to like and comment, and I'll see you guys in the next one.